thanks for coming today to talk about diastasis recti. And why don't you just start with your name and go into your story and what you want to share, and then we'll go from there.
My name is Erin Johnson. I am 38 right now. Sorry, I had to think about that. When I was 31, I had my first baby, a little girl, and a year later, I got pregnant with twins, actually. And after I had my boys, I had a huge, I think it was like a 6-finger gap for my diastasis recti. My doctor had told me and did give me PT. My life was a little crazy during that time, but had told me, you can go to PT and it'll shrink it a little bit, but there's no way you're going to be able to get it all the way back together unless you do surgery. Obviously, I just had a C-section with my twins. Surgery was not an option at that time for me with 3 little ones. And I thought, okay, at some point in the future, if I have to do this, I'll do it. I had asked, if I don't do the surgery, what are my issues? She said, maybe not now, but down the road, you'll probably have back pain, because with a weak core, you know, your back is going to have to compensate, and at some point you're going to have some back problems. And I was like, oh gosh, I don't want to have to deal with back problems later. So in my mind, I thought at some point I'll have to do this surgery, but maybe not when I have little kids. And so I did do the PT. I wasn't a great PT patient at that time. I was so busy. I was working full time. I had 3 kids under the age of 2 in my house. Nursing them, and so it was crazy. So I didn't do a lot of my homework, I wasn't doing my daily exercises. And then basically I was told that until I got it fixed, that until I had surgery, I really should avoid a lot of core exercises. So that would be kind of like crunches or even planks, and a few other ones. So I remember even before I do an exercise, I bought a rowing machine. I like to row. I looked at how to row without making your diastasis recti worse. And it was instead of going all the way back, which you're supposed to do for the core portion, I would just go to this and stop so that I wouldn't engage my core, because I was always worried that it would separate and make it worse and not better. So I kind of just avoided core exercises for 5 years. And then I thought, I cannot do this forever, right? My kids are a little bit older now, right? So I thought, okay, this is a good time for me to try to come in. So that's when I came and saw Melanie.
Yes. So, yeah, I remember you saying that was one of the things that you wanted to row, but you had shortened the amount that you were actually moving on the rower. Well, what exercises were you told that would help your diastasis?
So I only remember what I did at PT, right? And at PT, I did the most basic exercises that my husband laughed at me because you couldn't tell that I was doing anything. I was on the ground and breathing in and then and even using my hands to kind of push my stomach together. And I don't think I ever made it past that point in PT. Again, I wasn't a great patient at that time. And it's I think my gap was so big that they did start me so basic. So I can't remember really anything besides those basic. Other than that, I just stopped all core exercises, right? I'd walk. I don't even think I would run. I did a modified row, even a modified when I'd get on the bike, I'd modify it. And then I could just tell my core was super weak, right? And I did it in those years, especially because I was carrying twins, and then I had another child after the twins. I was constantly carrying people, right? And I could tell I did, my back was suffering from that. But yeah, to be honest, I probably didn't almost do anything.
Yeah.
Besides those silly exercises. And I still have that little worksheet she gave me from 5 years ago, or 6 years ago now. But they were super basic. Again, you wouldn't notice that I was working out.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so then when you came in here, I guess what was kind of an aha moment, or what did you learn, or what was different about how we approached it.
Yeah, I think, right, like you were very hands-on, you were feeling it, right? So you knew, and you kind of just went through different exercises and saw where I could do things. And gosh, it felt slow, but then it felt like it progressed quickly after the slow initial part. I think when I could even do a plank was like shocking, or I remember, I think the first week, I think it was like my legs coming up that I could do not like barely anything, right? Like it was like my legs, I was laying flat on my back and I could like lift my legs with my core like maybe 6-8 inches. And then by the end it was like I could do them so hard, right? Like, and so high. And I was a better patient for you where I was doing homework. I was trying to do the exercises at home too because I really wanted to, right, see progress. And I didn't want to keep living like this.
Yeah.
But I think the leg raising was like oh my gosh, I never thought I could do this. And it felt like I could do almost nothing, and quickly it was almost like my body was like, oh no, like I know how to do this, right? Like I haven't been doing it for 5 or 6 years. Like I just need a little bit of a kickstart, and then oh yeah, I could do this, right?
Yeah. I think that's the amazing thing about the body is like we may be weak in certain things, but it just adapts so quickly.
And I think the working together, like I don't think my muscles like remembered how to work together, one because they were just ignored for so long. But I think you helped them like not talk to each other, but like you can explain it better than I can. But like, right, they like now can work together because I have like pelvis and all different kinds of muscles in your core, and they were like, oh yeah, we know how to work together again.
Yeah, right. So do you feel like you can be honest, obviously.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you still struggle
No.
with anything in your core?
No, not with my core. I mean, I still would say it's like a weaker part of my body. So I worked with you like 6 months ago, ish. And so I have been doing training, right? Like, I have a trainer, a weightlifter who's helping me. And she did notice that my core was weaker. And so we've been working on that. But like, there's not an exercise I can't do, right? Like, I now plank on a stability ball for a couple minutes at a time, which there's no way a year ago I would have even done probably more than 10 seconds, realistically. And like she has me doing all sorts of stuff, right, to engage my core. And hard exercise. Like I think they're hard, and it's amazing that I can do them, which I never thought. Honestly, I never thought without surgery I would be able to do those things.
But didn't you, because I thought, from what I remember, you had said that you used to like working out really hard.
I loved working out really hard. And like, gosh, up until I had my kids, like, and everybody's body is a little different. Like, my stomach was always pretty tight, right? Like, I carry my weight in my legs, not in my stomach historically. And for like most of my life, I had a 6-pack, right? And that was just like a natural sort of how my body was built. And so it was like, oh, I have this mommy tummy now, right? That's like hideous. And you'll never see me in a bikini again. I still have like so many stretch marks and weird, like my belly button isn't normal, right? But I don't care, right? I just want to be strong. I want to be strong for my kids. I want to be able to work out well. It's not so much like how pretty it looks, right? I want it to just work.
And I think the important thing to know as far as in regards to surgery is that it shouldn't have to be the only option. If aesthetically you still wanted it one day down the road, right? That could be your own
decision,
your own choice and decision.
Yes.
But I think people need to know that like you can still get so much stronger and be so much more capable in your core even with a diastasis that it's really up to you how far you want to take it and how much you want to do with it. And the avoidance piece is really detrimental because it keeps people from a lot of things in life, activity-wise, that they would otherwise do if they hadn't been told that they couldn't.
Yeah. No,
So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm really thankful.
Yeah. Oh, I'm really glad because it's really fun to be able to empower people, especially when you walk in here fearful and thinking like, okay, there's no hope.
Maybe no hope.
But then to show that, no, you really can do this.
And I will say,
you're stronger than you think you are.
Totally.
And you're more resilient than
I
you
watched
think you
a
are.
ton of videos, too, of people being like, if you have diastasis recti, right? Like, you can't do all these things. So I watched, I'm definitely somebody who likes to be informed if there's an issue. Like, I will Google search the heck out of it. And I felt like everybody basically told me, you need to have surgery. There's no hope for you. And here's all the exercises that you can't do. And it was a huge list of things I couldn't do. So it was kind of like, all right, I can't do anything.
Yeah.
And then I come and see you. You're actually physically touching me. You can feel it, right? And it's a totally different story than what I had learned online, thinking that was what it was.
Yeah. Yes, I think the pendulum is swinging, but it's a slow swing. And unfortunately, when you put stuff on social media or the internet, it stays there.
Yeah.
And so people can find that kind of stuff. And I think that there needs to be more research, obviously, but for the most part, the people that I follow that are following the research are showing that it's an adaptation in your body, diastasis. Like the separation is an adaptation that happens when you're pregnant as opposed to an injury.
Okay.
And so seeing it that way, realize like, oh, if it adapts that way, then we can adapt it in different ways, right?
Yeah.
Instead of thinking that it has to be protected as an injury. And so I think that's the exciting thing to see that, where people can go with their body when they want to.
Yeah.
Even with diastasis recti.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, is there anything else you wanted to say?
No, I'm just thankful I found you and thankful I came because I feel like I love that I can work out again. Right?
Yeah, I'm excited for you. So,
thank you.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.